Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Finance Friday. As you can see, today I am joined by someone you people almost beat me up about, WINNIE, our in-house lawyer. A few weeks ago, myself, WINNIE, and Nindo from Risk Africa had two-part conversation about family finances and protecting our wealth as Kenyan families and African communities. And you guys really insisted on having WINNIE back to help us tackle the legal aspects of the whole, succession planning. We kept getting questions like, if my husband passed on and he had this property, or my dad passed on and he had this property. There's a lot of back and forth about it. So how do we go about it? And guys, today I just want us to take some time to have this discussion about like the whole aspect of family wealth protection in the Kenyan context, in the African context, hopefully even in a broader manner, and how succession planning generally is handled in Kenya, because that is an aspect of our finances that affects us so much. So if you're interested in finding out how that goes and just indulging in this conversation, please stick around. So WINNIE, tusalimie. Please introduce yourself. Of course, for the people who maybe didn't watch our previous videos, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do, things that you're passionate about, before we get started.
Thank you very much, Susan, for having me again. It was a lot of fun the last time.
I know.
Yeah, it was, and I think educative for the most part. I did truly learn a lot, especially from Nindo. But the long and short is WINNIE Maingi is my name. An advocate of the High Court of Kenya, an estate planner by calling. I guess it's almost like a preacher man's vibe, but not as a jab to the men of the cloth. I feel like a part of what I do and a part of what Susan does marry in the fact that we're helping families deal with their finances a little better, deal with the assets that they're collecting also in a more structured way. So estate planning is simply the structuring of proper administration of your assets, whether it's during your lifetime or after you pass away. So that is just the English term definition for estate planning. But in plain language, it just means kujipanga. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
One of the questions that really came up, and that's why I had to have you back, is we all hear succession planning. So even when people are being told, write a will, have an estate plan, if you really want to be elite about it, get a trust.
Yeah.
So that and this happens. I don't know, maybe before we get even into succession planning, I'd like to know, is there a particular reason why estate planning is really close to your heart, or why that's your calling? Because I would think, I don't know, is it because of what you've observed in African families, Kenyan setting, or why specifically estate planning?
I wouldn't say I happened upon it. I think it was, if you're a believer and I'm of the Christian faith, I think God led me here. And most of my life I've dealt with family law in bits and pieces. I participated in, of course, my law school engagement in the court, where succession court was a lot in that courtroom. And a lot of cases were coming in, and you'd see, old ladies with their children, they've come in with all manner of title deeds, they want to take over, or someone comes in, they have a fake death certificate or something like that.
Not fake death certificate. What?
Yeah, they're real. I mean, we have fake IDs, and a death certificate is simply an ID of a deceased person. So yeah, they can be faked. And from that, I observed quite a bit. I used to ask, I'd go back home and just ask, how different is it for us? Like, what should we expect? And it was around the time I lost my mom. I think I mentioned last time.
Yeah.
I've just been in a single parent home for the last 14 years. But my mom was around for 19 years, my mom was around. She knew how to navigate us through wealth, how to navigate us through basic money choices, money wisdom. And that was my foundation on, if you can do this as a family, it would make it easier. So when she passed away and you have to hear, oh, there's a court process, and you've seen the court process, you want to shy away from it because you're all paraded, all the people concerned.
And your entire
yes, you're all paraded in the succession court. And if you're an ideal family, you come from a lab structure, someone will cover you, but they can't cover everything about you.
That's true.
Yeah. So the mantra in the legal practice is CYA. Yeah. I won't say the long form of it, but once you learn to protect yourself and cover yourself, you'll understand that succession is something to protect yourself from, not to engage in. Yeah. So from there, when I finished school, I was in the succession court now as a graduate clerk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I worked with a few judges where we used to now receive matters, either wills or just persons seeking letters of administration. We used to type them out ourselves. We attended succession cases. We attended death, when people are trying to exhume bodies before they do succession to confirm that they belonged to a certain family.
I'm tired of it.
Cases of divorce that move on to matrimonial property cases, And if someone dies in between, it becomes a succession matter. It was a lot of convolution, but the basis of society, the fabric itself of society is family.
Yeah.
So why not deal with the family? If you can deal with the family and its finances, you can help the whole society. We can build a better economy just simply by making sure everyone within the family knows how to protect their finances. So from succession on the court end, I decided to join the flip side. Like, why must you go through succession?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
Why you don't need to go through succession if you don't have to. There are some people who truly need to.
Yeah.
There's some people who don't have maybe an adult in their lives and they're not able to navigate through certain asset structuring. But there's also the public trustee for people who don't have too many assets. The public trustee receives certain estates for distribution, and they take it back to court and tell them this is how they've distributed a person's estate. But there's an estate value that they have legally mandated jurisdiction to the public trustee. Doesn't mean that as a private person you can't use a public trustee. You can. It's an office. It's a government office like any other, and it's service to the Kenyan. But I mean, we have gone to school. We've been raised by the generation that believes education is the key to success. Now you have achieved success, and you really want to participate in the future success of maybe your children or your nieces and nephews. Try estate planning. That's what I say.
Yeah.
It's not a one-day job. It's a lifetime. It's a lifetime game. You
stay doing
day by day. I stay doing it.
Yeah.
I've met many people from all walks of life, people who are recently divorced to recently married to blended families to we lost our dad, we lost our mom, what do we do? How do we navigate it? So
I hear you. One of the questions I keep getting, and I think this really makes me so sad, is when a wife has lost, let's say, like their husband, and genuinely and truly they knew there's this property, there's this money, there's this investment of some sort, but like I think people usually just assume, because I know where it is, now it is automatically mine and I can have access to this investment account. Or I know the title deed is written my husband's name, because I have a marriage certificate, now I think I can treat it as mine, right?
Yeah.
Or so many times, even just forgetting the spouses, even children, like your parent had this, that, and the other. Maybe like I've even talked to like someone previously whose brothers are, so she's an only girl, she has 4 brothers. So there's a dynamic. Some Africans don't believe that because you're a woman, so you'll get married.
Yes.
You will get property at your husband's place. So like it was almost like such a bad tug of war. So what I want to understand, can you take us through the simple process of what succession looks like in the Kenyan courts? So if you were in a situation where either your spouse or your dad or someone, like either one of them has passed on, or a parent, and you are aware that there's land, there's some money, there's a circle, there's investments.
Yeah.
But at the point that this person, because you see, obviously, I do know there's the whole process that it makes it easier when the person had a written will. So his or her opinions are very clearly, or rather their wishes, are very clearly stated.
Yeah.
Definitely that's easier. So maybe can you take us through what a succession would look like in the case that someone had nothing, like word of mouth only. So like, hii ni shamba ya baba yetu na tunajua, but like
Najua.
That's all. Yeah. So what would that, because I feel like I've gotten quite a number of inquiries about people in those situations, and they're completely stuck. Like now they're fighting amongst themselves, brothers amongst sisters, family amongst family. If they were to take this matter to court, what should this person be aware of in terms of preparation? Do you need to get some legal documents? How do you access property that you know rightfully belonged to a parent or a spouse, and their intention was to leave it for you, but they did not leave any written instruction? Yeah.
Okay. Right. Wow. So let's break it down, like in plain language.
Yeah.
And correct me if I use a legal term, because
I'll be telling you, Winnie, huku to the Germany market. When you say Helena, what we don't know.
Okay.
Break it down.
Okay, that's good. So succession, basically, death is not convenient. Death is only known by our maker.
Yeah.
You don't know the day you're going to pass away, neither does anyone around you, unless they plan. That's a whole different aspect of the law if someone plans your death. But death is not convenient. So whatever this person was doing prior to their death was something you relied on, either in terms of information and mostly in terms of finances or partnering in meeting certain responsibilities in life. That person passes away, and immediately the law automatically locks them out as deceased. Automatic. So good for you if you are that couple that keeps each other's passwords and pins. So then you can access some money,
size heavily,
from their bank account or their M-Pesa account. But we are in the day and age where pin yako ni siri yako.
Correct.
And siri yako also, counts your spouse, maybe counts your parents as well. So your parents can entrust you with money, but they won't entrust you with their PIN.
That's true.
Yeah. And maybe even for your husband or wives out there, you don't know your husband's PIN. So the first thing you want to do is to get access to this money. One, you have burial arrangements to make. Two, maybe your children are still going to school. There are certain other obligations still to be made. You need to pay rent. You need to either, pay utilities, some fuel. Maybe you don't have cash, and they're the ones who had cash. You need to access immediately. What you must do is collect that person's national ID, take it back to the government at the registry of persons, and seek a death certificate.
So step number one, have an actual legitimate death.
Must surrender their original ID, not a copy, not a laminated copy either. So you must know where the original ID is so that you surrender it. Then once you surrender it, because as an applicant for a death certificate, you have to say who you are. So you say how then the nexus, the relationship you had with this person. Once you get the death certificate, say you got it, nobody challenged it, you have to go to the chief of your area. The chief is the person who is deemed by law to know the people who are living in a particular area. They know the people, their children, their spouses, what they owned. Of course, in this day and age, you give the chief this information, and the chief will accept that you're a spouse by giving him a marriage certificate, that you're a child by giving him a birth certificate. So if it's your father, the name of your father must appear on the birth certificate. If it's your mother, I mean, it's more obvious than her name appears on birth certificate. And then you list out all the dependents. By law, under the Law of Succession Act, and this has to be cemented, dependents are the people who this person was taking care of, and there's a list. There's almost a drop-down list of who may be a dependent.
Who gets top priority?
Spouses and children, and then parents.
Before we get to siblings, it's please clarify that, because so it's spouses, children, parents, then siblings,
and then now your parents-in-law, the siblings-in-law,
or even in-laws.
Yes, there are people who are living with their in-laws, and they are dependent on you for one thing or another. So it's not...
Move on.
Well, so you have that drop-down list, quote-unquote, and then you have collected all this information about this person. So for the wise couples, one person always knows about the other. But there are some, this is completely like a blindside event. You show up, maybe you call their friend, their best friend, or there's a lawyer they used to see. You show up in their office and you're like, no, so-and-so passed away. Most often than not, they know. And they can give you some information. They can tell you, he owned this, he owned that, she owned this, she had bought that, she was in the process of buying this. Then you collect that, you list it out, and you prepare a document that needs to go to court. So first, we said there are urgent needs. So you can petition the court without collecting all these things. You can first run to court, petition them and say, look, this person has passed away, we have a burial permit, and all that, we're getting a death certificate,
we
need money urgently for the following uses. You have to state why, and they give you what you call a grant ad litem, so a limited grant in time. The time could be 30 days that you're able to access certain things and certain information. Maybe you can withdraw some funds.
So I go with this grant to the bank, or to the MMA,
correct,
to say, okay, this person had money here. This is what the court has instructed. Give us 500,000.
Yes. Okay. So give us 500. So and so is in school. So and so needs a bus fare somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. So they give you that, and it's limited in time. So it expires. Yeah.
How long will this take me if I'm
to get a grant? Because they try to
fasten the process.
Yeah. So if they expedite so much, it will take maybe 7 to 14 days.
Okay.
Because remember, there's someone at the registry receiving this documentation, verifying it, typing out your grant, taking it to the judge for signature, because it cannot just be issued by anybody. So then it comes back, then you're given. So, I mean, of course, in the normal day-to-day process of court, in the same day, they still have court to attend.
There's matters
that are ongoing. So it's not just you. We're not just waiting for you to come and we issue you a grant, but they do try to fast-track the process. So while you're getting your limited grant, you should also be applying for the full grant. And by full grant, I mean letters of administration. In the meantime, if you deal in that deceased person's property, whether it is driving their car away or moving into their house, taking furniture and whatnot, you're basically a criminal.
As long as someone has gone to court?
No, as long as even nobody has been issued letters of administration.
Then people be out here doing criminal behaviors since time immemorial. Because have you seen what happens when someone dies?
Yes.
People move into the house.
Correct.
Others, as you've said, they come carry stuff. Huku ni kwa mtoto wangu. Or whatever. That's criminal.
Yes, it is. There's a crime under the Succession Act that states you should not tamper with a deceased person's estate. And their estate is everything.
What?
Yeah.
Atagari.
Atagari. So you can drive it and bring it back, drive
but
it and bring
leave
it
this
back,
person's
but
stuff
until it is decided who is getting it,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to touch it and tamper with it.
Let me ask you before you continue. Say there's disputes because families are families.
Yeah.
And person A in the family has done that. And let's say I was the spouse or the daughter. Could I sue for breach of that? Like, I'm like, okay, let's say we've started the court process for one reason. Because, I've seen two limitations from stories I've heard, and some I've seen even in like some of my family members. I never used to understand why people fight over the death certificate, or why people will withhold. Because someone was telling me, like when the hubby passed on, the family was refusing to hand over the death exactly. She didn't have I kept not understanding why they are insisting on keeping the death certificate. But then now I've understood, like in the process of succession, the one who has the death certificate has now the power to proceed to court. Yeah? So question is, so let's say I have my spouse's ID, I've followed up, death certificate, da-da-da-da-da. But in the meantime, as I was doing that, someone, person X in the family was looting, for lack of a better word.
It is looting.
Can you pursue that?
Yeah, you can call the cops. The police can help you return such things to the estate, and then you go to court and say that this person is the one who's caught doing X, Y, Z.
All right, yeah. Okay.
But so again, that flows in some bitterness. There's some bad blood will come in, especially if you're related to this person.
But succession is never pretty. I genuinely feel like the whole process of it leaves a bad taste. In your mouth. So I've gotten ID, I've gotten the certificate, I've gone and maybe gotten the limited grant to be able to access funds for immediate stuff.
Correct.
So now you start the process of applying for the
full grant,
which is access to now the entire estate.
So with the full grant, when you apply for the full grant, you'll be saying who you are. You have the chief's letter, and then you have maybe copies of title documents and bank account details and whatever details of the assets that this person has, and their death certificate, and you say, I want permission to collect. Permission to collect all these things. Maybe I'll go to the lawyer and get the original. And then now we can sit down to distribute. And you're looking for permission. So there are two rules. If there are minors in that estate, as long as there's someone under the age of 18, the administrators must be two.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll have two adults.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if you are the spouse, you're more likely to be the first administrator.
And then someone else.
Okay. Yeah. So
must someone else be related administrators? Must you be related to the person?
You don't have to be, but from just the practice of succession, more often
family affair.
It's someone who's willing to participate in the process, and it's not a free process. So you can get a friend to also participate. But people keep family matters within their families. So probably parents or an uncle, an aunt, friends. No, not really. But I mean, we'll get there.
Okay.
So you have you petitioned, you want the letters of administration, and the court grants you. You have a 30-day objection period that they give, they gazette you. So you've paid for the petition, you've paid the court fees. It could be anywhere from 3K to 10K for the petition, and then you add another 30K for the estate. It's valued. The estate is valued. Then if you want, of course, if you're involving a lawyer, you'll pay
lawyer's fee,
legal fee.
Now WINNIE.
Well, it's our bread.
I know. I'm like, can we afford you even?
But the minimum legal fees will be about 50K, which is governed by the advocate remuneration order. There's a regulation that says an advocate may charge you a minimum of X.
We are already at 100 G's plus.
Give or take.
Yeah, because it's 50K bare minimum for the lawyer,
Yeah.
30 for valuing the estate. So we're at like 80, 10 for. So that's what I'm saying. Nimeshaona vile tunafika and 100. Yeah.
And please note you already paid the burial arrangements and all those things. Yeah. So you pay through that process. The gazette is also paid for. The gazette notice. Currently, gazette notice is I think around 4,000. And gazetted for 30 days. If Susan sees Winnie's name in the one petition, and be like, no, I'm objecting. You can object and it will be heard in court.
Okay.
If there's no objection, I'm here for ideal situations. If there's no objection, you'll be granted the letters of administration. So how many days has it been? So from the day you got your death certificate, maybe it was 2 weeks after this person died. Done 2 weeks of granted letter, so that's a month. You have 30 days for your 2 months, so that's 2 months. Then within, by the time you're getting the grant of letters, this is very ideal. 30 days lapses, the grants are typed out, they are signed, you're given. You start collecting, then you do a schedule of distribution. By your schedule, you have to name every person who was identified as an heir, every asset, and how you're distributing.
Yeah.
And it's usually Winnie, Title A, 100%. Or Winnie and Susan, Title A, 50%, equal shares. Yeah. So that it's clear to them
How it was distributed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all these distribution modes must be consented by all the heirs.
So if me and my siblings are not in agreement, we could stay there 2 years.
You will stay there forever. There are court cases that are spanning 40 years.
Because they can't agree.
Nobody can agree. The people who were involved passed away. Then they involved
We are now at great-grandchildren. There's a one's living by.
Yeah, but again, we're on the ideal situation. So we're 2 months in, being given the grant. You have 6 months to deliberate on distribution, collect titles. You're not doing any transfers. You're not doing anything, just collecting. Yeah. Then after the 6 months, you prepare the schedule of distribution. You take it back to court for a hearing. In your hearing, all heirs
Must be present.
Thank God the pandemic sent us into the wave.
Because I'm like, what if they're in Uganda, another one in Australia? People
would
travel. Travel.
Yes, board a ship, board a flight. We don't care.
Just be
here on date X. Yes, everybody knows that succession is inconvenient, but they don't know just
how inconvenient it can get.
Yeah. So you have to abandon your life bills, come home for a 30-minute, just a segment of the court date.
I used to wonder why these things are so, like, it's a big deal. Every person I've had is, like there are 2 courts I dread.
Yeah.
Family courts and succession. It's just, no.
Yeah, but succession is part of the family.
Yeah.
Family is in 3 parts. Yeah. So there's the marriage, which is the formation of the family. Children's
court, and then there's succession.
Yeah.
It's tearing.
It is.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're all, if you put the emotions aside, you have someone who's headstrong and logical dealing with the process.
It can get
done.
Actually, from what I'm actually gathering is, since we've done like the 2 months, blah, 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 6 months, is it then right to say that give or take, it should take you a year or less without disputes?
Yes.
To be able to now finally actually access now funds from investments, a bank account.
Yes.
Now own the title deed,
yes.
Blah, blah, blah. Less than a year.
Yes. Because every one of these people, that is the custodian or whatever asset it is, will require what we call the certificate of confirmation or grant, which is issued at the tail end of this matter.
Yeah.
This certificate is the only thing that is granting you access to the asset. The grant of letters of administration simply gives you permission to know what it is, to know where it is, to collect documents about it, but not to distribute it. But once you get the certificate confirmation of grant, you can walk into any bank, you can walk,
and they'll release the
you can go to the registrar, shares, they'll release or transfer.
Okay.
So even at the land's office, they will want to see the certificate of grant, certificate of confirmation of grant, the death certificate, correct, will not lose it, the grant of letters of administration, and now the transfer from the administrator to the person who's getting it.
Do you know what we need? I'm done. Like, I'm just like, all these things, it's true. Like, everything you've explained is on the ideal, in an ideal situation where the family is in like full agreement. All the members, the in-laws, the siblings, the spouse, everyone is in alignment, which is pretty much like 5% of the time, you know, or less, right? So I'm imagining that, of course, where there's issues and disagreements, definitely takes longer.
It does.
So Winnie, honestly, as I listen to you talking to me about the whole process of succession planning, can I be honest? I'm over it. Like, I'm just I'm like,
we all are. Growth should be.
Yeah. Even the ideal situation, imagine. So very quickly, I really want us, and I want you to, like, if you were advising me, we've helped the people who are in that situation already.
Yeah.
But like I always say, for me, approaching life from a preventative perspective is always better than waiting for worst case scenarios. Yeah. So if I'm just let's say a young person in a young family, maybe we have our first child, and like I literally I've not gotten into this marriage or family setting to live. Let's just assume we are sane people, right? And we're trying to build a life together. I do believe there's how we can do things differently to avoid, because nimepata tu headaches. As in, I'm like, I can't even keep up with all of those things you've said. And I'm like, there's a way to avoid, because that is a process for someone who had not set up system structures, had left any instructions whatsoever. So if a young family right now, husband alive, wife alive, children, they're there, they're not even grown enough to be beefing, or maybe they are. How can we avoid 10 years, 7 years, 2 years fighting each other in courts and all of that? Is there a way, like, what are some different decisions, especially people in marriages right now, or in family setups, or even single parents? What are the systems and structures you feel are very important for us to put in place to avoid that whole situation?
That which you're headed to.
Yeah.
Basic. That's end line. The finish line is at succession court, but you can steer away from succession court.
I want to know, how do I, me personally, how do I avoid that? I'm just like, I'm spooked.
Don't be so scared. The judges, they are friendly.
No, thanks. I would rather not. I would rather not.
Okay. So, to avoid court, and of course court, when you hear court, people usually are like, why are we going to court? And succession is like, all of you must come. Yeah. There are three options. Ideal marriage partners looking to see each other to the ends of their life. It would have been a great idea to discuss a prenuptial agreement. It should have been a fantastic idea. But we are not,
since we are here,
of discussing even post-nup agreement, which is supported by the Marriage Act. Let's say I don't want a post-nuptial agreement. It's very easy for me to navigate this conversation with my spouse by telling him, imagine, let's protect what we own so that your things are not being distributed huko in court or kwa wazazi. And those even are not fighting kwa wazazi, There are many parents and many loving parents of our parents' generation. And even for us, you would love to attend your child's wedding. It's almost like a dream of every parent. And they gift their children many things, including vehicles. Now we've seen land, then we've seen homes, fully furnished homes. And it's not in your name, obviously, because they were buying it as a secret. They bought it as Baba Susan. Baba Susan did not transfer to Susan. And then Baba Susan has passed away. This property now is part of Baba Susan's estate.
Anyone could take it.
You live there. Susan and family live here in Baba Susan's estate. Even your brother, your sister would simply say, no, I want this. Yeah. I want this. So again, we're discussing the ideals for sanity and some form of compassion in families, where someone will be like, this one was already given to so and so. We just need to process it to so and so.
Yeah.
Ideally, they should have transferred it to you, so that no one is attacking you. But if they haven't, write a will.
Okay.
It's like the first step. Talk to your spouse. Maybe we just write a will to each other. We're still perpetuating love. Some families, some situations, really not. But here we're perpetuating love. So perpetuate it and say, okay, we love each other.
Yeah.
I don't know what will happen to me today. I don't know what will happen to you today. Or tomorrow. Can we write our wills?
Yeah.
And you give me everything, may I give you everything.
So that in the case one of us dies, the other is responsible for. Okay.
Yeah. Previously, in marriages past, people would own their assets in their joint names.
Yeah. Yeah.
And joint tenancy, which is what it's called in law. So what you're saying was joint tenancy is different from common tenancy. Joint tenancy is what people do. They jointly own property.
Yeah.
And then common tenancy is we own it together, yes, but you have certain number of shares and I have certain number.
So you can own 70%, I own 30%.
Yes.
Okay.
And to your estate, the 30% will be theirs. But in jointly owned property, if you pass away, it's now mine. 100%.
Okay.
And that is what we used to do previously to protect family assets.
Okay.
But families have kind of evolved, right? We have blended families. We have, certain families that are single parent families by design, choice almost, not just circumstances. Then we also have grandparent children families. We have parent-child adoptive families.
Oh, yeah.
So they're different. And also, people have moved on from simply owning jointly with just their spouse. They're owning jointly with their friends, with their siblings.
Actually,
you're doing joint investments.
With chamas, even. Yeah.
Chamas should basically be registered entities. You can find a good lawyer who can explain to you how to get a legal personality for your chama that doesn't end up messing your finances, your personal finances, especially tax efficiency, but helps you navigate the process of if I'm constantly contributing 50K towards this chama investment, what will my family get if I pass away?
Okay,
So you have to just think around certain assets. And if I can will it away, it means I can pass it on.
That's true.
Some things like jointly owned, I can't will away. So it's good to know what I own, how I own it, and can I give it away?
Okay.
If you own something, ideally by myself, I can give it away as long as it has a document of title. And a document of title could be anything. It could be a logbook, could be a share certificate, it could be a title document, it could be anything that grants me power to own that asset. And I mean, tell me something that does not come with a document.
Nothing. I mean, even investment products, everything. You fill a proposal form, a policy document.
And that's your title document.
Exactly.
Okay? So even when you insure your car, it's a policy document, it's your logbook. So you own the insurance and you own the car. So you need to understand what you own, how you own it, if you can pass it away. So let's say you own things, again, on your own. This is ideal married situation. You own, husband owns this, wife owns this, and they write their wills. What you can do to further enhance this protection is set yourselves up in a trust. I would shamelessly say navigating a trust through a marriage is almost like writing a post-nuptial agreement. It's simply saying, imagine I own this, you own this, we have these children. Can we own it in a separate legal person from me and you, such that if anything happens to either of us, our children will still own this? Plain and simple. Yes, that's
not now their uncle.
Not their uncle, the guardians, who anybody could end up with your child physically, but not anybody should end up with the assets that belong to your child.
So true.
And protecting your children is basically now what we call building generational wealth, because you've transitioned it.
That's legacy planning.
It is legacy planning. It's not as abstract as we want to think it. It's also not not doable. It's very doable. It's very manageable. It's an arrangement that you're setting up. And the beauty about it is you're setting it up while you can still navigate it.
So you can keep even adjusting it as long as you're alive.
Oh, you change something, you buy this, you add,
you get a new baby, you add them as a beneficiary.
Yeah, you can. As
you get divorced, you decide each other.
Yeah, you get divorced, you remain part of the trust.
Yeah,
but both of you just leave the marriage. It's not pain-free, but it's pain that you can manage. It's very painful to deal through a divorce. You've bought a property together, and then now in the divorce is when you're splitting it. And the only two ways to split it. Who's keeping the house? Who's paying the other one off? Or do we sell and pay each other off?
Yeah.
And divorce never is mutual.
Yeah.
There's always the jilted party.
Exactly.
The one who's feeling
the bitter one.
Hakuna.
Yeah.
And even the most well-meaning individual, even the best of people, go through things that change them.
Because it's emotional.
It's very emotional.
Yeah.
It's deeply impactful. It's the same thing as going through any kind. Divorce is a loss. Any kind of loss brings grief. And grief introduces you to yourself again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not the same person I was before my mom. I was very soft. I used to, land softly. She was my soft landing. Now, I have to be my own soft landing.
Tea for tough. Toughened up.
Toughened up.
Yeah.
I have had to mother myself, almost mother other people as well. And that's what she passed on. Yeah. So she passed on the value of having strength within her own. Yeah. But even then, she still passed on some things. She didn't leave us in the dark. It's not, so now what do we have? Yeah. And it wasn't easy, but it was manageable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank God my dad is still around, because the reverse situations are almost always the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's the one who seemed to own more of the things in title documents, but he's the one who's around. And God forbid, if he were to leave us and then he has no plan, I would have failed him miserably as a human being. Not only as a lawyer and estate planner, I would have failed him, because I have witnessed way too many situations where you have a home you want to use. Yeah. Most people are brought up in Eastlands of Nairobi.
Yeah.
Most of those homes, maybe the patriarch or the matriarch has passed away. Kids are living in this house. If you don't claim ownership to this asset,
Imagine.
it can easily end up in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Or in the not rightful hands. We're all entitled to our parents. Your brother got 1,000 shillings. Pia mimi.
Yeah.
Don't just give pocket money out.
Especially I feel like that happens as everyone gets older.
Yes.
And then they all have their own bills, families. Like, you begin to look out for yourself.
Not even in the grand scheme of things of money, because you can call home and you get money and someone else would.
Yeah.
But even in assistance, we have moms who have daughters and you all have children. So who's supporting whom? Your mom, you want mom to come, have a child. They want mom to come, you have a child. So who gets mom? In that situation, who gets dad? Dad is so used to driving you here, picking up your kids, but everybody wants dad. How do you split this human being?
Oh, dear.
So the values, family values are shaken down to the core. To the core of generosity, inclusivity, the values that you've created, you've harnessed as a people. Then you move them up to now what you own. If you are mean from the family level, you're mean with everything up here.
Yeah.
If you are mean with education, you'll also be mean to your children with education. You won't think it's valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you don't value honesty, your children won't be honest. And unless a miracle happens, or you're giving them out to be raised by someone else, your children just won't be honest.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of creating a trust where now you're closeting bad manners or bad values. You're simply creating a trust to discover the values that you hold as a family.
Yeah.
To do inclusivity and transparency.
And what you're saying is that as you're working with your lawyer or your lawyers or whichever team is helping you, it's gonna reveal itself.
Yes.
Like, because it's like, I love what you said. Actually, now that I think about it, it really is like a post-nap.
It is.
Because it's like, number one, we all have to, be transparent in terms of what we own.
Yes.
So now gone is, even if you do decide to hide, you still can, but like it's not beneficial. So now everyone has to say, this is how much I have in investments and this is where they are. This is the number of pieces of land I own and this is where they are. So now it kind of like flies the door open for honesty, transparency, as you've said. And then now us trying to come to a common agreement to now decide, if we are not here, this property or this amount will go to school fees, and this is the caliber of schools we want our children to go to, or this, that. Now, let me ask you, I know we can't like really fully dive into trust because it's a very like, it's not really complicated, but it does need time. Maybe in a very layman language, if you were to explain to someone who's listening to us what exactly a trust is, and very quickly, like, what's the not all, like, how do you just go to a lawyer, any kind of a lawyer, tell them you want a trust, or is it a specific kind of a lawyer? And what is it? Is it like, as you've said, I know it's a legal entity, but like, just very quickly, what it is and what kind of a lawyer you should look for to help you set it up, either as an individual or even as a family?
Okay. So let me start with the last question, then we go to the first one. Any kind of lawyer can do any kind of work.
Okay.
But it only takes a good lawyer to tell you, I'm an expert in this, I'm an expert in that. Okay.
Yeah.
Even for, I guess, for financial
Even,
coaching,
actually.
there's things that you can advise, and there are things that you don't touch. That's because it's very easy to mislead someone because you yourself don't know where to go.
Especially the intricacies of
the complexities of trust and what you can and can't do come with experience. So there are lawyers in this city who are fantastic at dealing in mergers and acquisitions. But tell them family law, and they're like, wow, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So I would say go to a genuinely good lawyer. They will help you navigate either within themselves or to refer you to someone what you need.
Or Winnie, the estate planner. Why are you not plugging yourself? You're the lawyer we need.
Well, for me, I almost feel like I'm a preacher man. I want everyone to try and just think through it for yourself. Think of the benefits, how you can reap the benefits. And if you want to come to me, I'm open. And you're not going to, I will not sugarcoat. That's not what we do. We'll tell you what you can, what you can't do. We can help you with experience and maybe what you've seen, because every human being is a story, and out of those stories are lessons. So we know that in some trusts this work, in some this will not work. So it's just it's a give and take as well. We must give for us to give back. It's so that you can take from us. It's, I don't know, I love trust because it's a relationship you're building with you and with the people now you're pulling involved in. Exactly. You're building the table. We hear so many coined terms of when you're successful, build a bigger table. It is building the table. Literally the table. You're calling the people who you know can pick your children up when they're in school, take them to hospital, take them home, feed them. When you become a parent, and to be fair, when I became a parent is when I realized relationships are crucial. Very. The person who you can entrust with your child, you can entrust with everything.
Correct. With your life.
Including your spouse. Because there are spouses who do not trust each other with their own children. You're like, wako na baba yao, I need to go home because they need to be fed. What do you mean? And
what he's an equally capable parent.
He should be. But not all.
Not all. Unfortunately.
There are dads out here who are like, she's given birth, you want to live your life. You can even move apartments. People are moving rooms in their own homes to give dad his space. We are raising the kids in this other room. he's able to pay for you to get a nanny, a house manager, but he's not willing to practically participate in upkeep of his children. Can you really trust that person with your child? Why are you even having a child with this person? But anyway, now that you have now that you've had a child with this person,
now that
it is easier to see through the mistakes and actually plan
ahead
for the eventuality.
Yeah.
If something were to happen to you today, who will call your children to pick them up, take them on a drive, take them to them and tell them,
Mom is
a guardian.
Yeah, that's who you should name as a guardian in your trust.
Yeah, you're stuck in an all-day meeting. You have no phone. You have, you need someone to text at 8 in the morning. I've dropped off my kids. I need a pickup. Take them to your house. I'll pick them tomorrow morning. That is a guardian.
That's guardian material.
That's guardian material. You need to have a conversation with that person and tell them, by the way, I'm writing a will, I'm setting up a trust, and it is you I have named as a guardian. It is you who will legally participate in the process of my children's upbringing.
Yeah.
If anything were to happen to me, of course, we pray for longevity of life and just the fulfillment of parenthood purpose. But if it does not happen, God has told us it is the prudent who plan for the times of danger. It is those who, literally, everything has been crafted and given to you for you to use as a tool.
That's true.
But you're here turning a blind eye because you cannot possibly imagine yourself away from this world. How? You can.
I mean, you leave your house today and not go back.
You can.
That's scary.
And not even just death, incapacitation. You could be in a coma for months.
Yeah.
Who can pay your bills?
Who can make decisions in your place
about you?
Yeah.
Which hospital to take you? Which, who can sort you in the time of need? A friend in need is a friend indeed, even for your family, including your spouse. Who can take care of my spouse? Are you going to, if we're creating a trust and you're discussing the fact that, okay, I bought this and I bought that, like it to benefit our children wholesomely and equally, say that. Yeah. And then say, if any of us remarry, neither of our spouses will be counted in this.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah. Or you've even accounted for worst case scenario, divorce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that you're imagining situations that are likely to happen, much as you're praying for them not to happen.
Okay. Let me ask you, as we wrap up, approximately how long will it take you? So let's say me and my spouse have come to you. We have our assets, again, in an ideal situation, atujafichana, like we know what everyone else has. Ideally, what's the duration of like an estate planner? Just, and maybe like an estimate is there. How do you price this service? And also, how long would it take to actually set one up and for it to now be like a live trust? It's active anytime now. It can be effected.
Okay, that's a good question. Currently, under the law, and if you follow the due process, it should take you anywhere between 3 months to 4 months to finalize a trust. Yeah, because there's that period where at least the government is required, but there's also the period before where you are coming. You're exposing yourself in confidence to understand what is the best possible solution for you. But some people, trusts don't work. Just write a will, say that you'd like them to do 1, 2, 3, and it will hopefully be done.
Yeah, and a good estate planner will advise you and help for you.
You just write a will.
And for you,
some people, a trust will work. Okay. For some people, they have assets where even if you create a trust, there's nothing you can put in this trust.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
Yeah.
You probably own most of your assets with your brother or with your best friend.
There's nothing that belongs to you.
Yeah. So you need to unravel all your ownership assets and then come back.
So that will be an actual trust.
Yeah. It's not just jumping in and saying, yeah, come we register your trust. No, that would be fooling you. And a real person or a real lawyer will tell you what is best suited in what circumstance.
Yeah.
So the trust registration process is currently moving to the company's registry. Yeah. So VRS, Business Registration Services, currently in Kenya is a digitized process. And we have happily enjoyed the digitization. It started out with a lot of teething problems, but it's coming in as a very useful tool.
Yeah.
But even in the BRS, we want something for the trusts to be digitized because they're not businesses. They're simply estate planning tools. And we want it to be
like a legal entity.
Yes, it's a legal entity, but not to be recognized as a business, but simply what it is, an estate management tool, a not-for-profit that allows you to consolidate your assets. It's good for you as a family. And remember what we said. If it's good for the family, it's good for the society.
That's true.
And if it works for the society, our economy is in for the best.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I really, really love that. I really love like the conversation we've had today. And I mean, obviously we have to wrap it up because it's been quite a mouthful. Maybe you can give us like a parting shot, and I want to guide this in a way, or because I'm just selfishly trying to kind of like get all the information I can from you. We live in a really weird generation now. As you've said, dynamics of family are changing. And while we may have, you know, the blended, the single, etc., I genuinely feel like one of the biggest challenges we face today is the lack of trust. in marriages. Because, you know, as I've been listening to you speak, there are aspects and things you mentioned that I cringe.
Yeah.
Because of conversations I've had with people. Now, even when women are getting married, we are being told, mwanamke uficha pesa yake, unajiwekea kando, you know. Men are also being told, you know, I mean, even now in the spirit of empowering men, and I'm doing it in quotes because it really is toxic, we are also encouraging, the same way it's toxic to tell women, you know, jifichie pesa yako, and now men are also being told the same. So generally, both genders are being advised for safety purposes, obviously, because people have jaded each other, really financially abused each other, emotionally manipulated each other. And because I feel like our generation has really, genuinely, I just feel like the fabric of marriage and what it was meant to be has been, it's just disgusting, for lack of a better word. You know, it's been eroded. So I'm wondering, because I know you're a happily married woman, and a mom, and someone who's actually practicing these things, as a parting shot, what would you say is a way we can foster, even to people who are currently like dating? Because sometimes I feel like when as a married woman you speak about these things, it's almost like, when ngoja tu kitakuramba, you will understand why we hide money. You wait, you know. So it's almost like it's not an if it happens, it's a when it happens. So I think one of the sad things, like even as someone with my own family, I really wish we had more conversations around how people are choosing even spouses, who you decide to date, why you're even dating these people. Because sometimes I wonder, it's so ridiculous that we trust people with our bodies. You're literally as vulnerable as can get with this person. I will not even get into the graphics of it, but you do the act enough to even make babies with this person.
Yeah.
So it's literally, there's really nothing of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually you've not given this person.
Yes.
But then
when it comes to money,
this is where we draw the line, you know. So as a parting shot, what do you think would help our generation in matters building trust? Because honestly, I feel like any level of proper estate planning is not sustainable or even possible when two people who are together are trying to hide stuff, manipulate, control. What would you say has been your experience, and what do you feel, you know, in conclusion, that would really help us, especially people who are not yet married? Because the ones who are already in the situation. But what can help us? I mean, even those that are in this situation.
Okay. Wow. Put me on the spot.
Okay. You know, it's because maybe when someone asks me that question, kusema tu kweli, I don't know what I can say other than like choose right. Choose your partner right. And then, you know, in terms of working on the actual marriage, because I don't think a trust issue in money for me is usually a symptom of an underlying thing, right?
Yes.
So for me, that's just it. It's like address the underlying issues or the reason why you people, because money is just on the surface. Trust me, it's huku juu. Huku ndani ndio kuna trash, you know? So I mean, that's what I would say. So what would you?
Wow. One, I don't believe marriage is dead. And I don't believe that getting married is right or wrong. It's simply a choice. It's neither mandatory, neither forced on you.
Yeah.
So if you've chosen, then I feel like in your choice, you need to step into your shoes and say, you know, there's a term for you're standing on business. Stand on your marriage. It's a risk you've taken. If you were to buy a car today and you're so excited, you bought your car, and then in 6 months you crashed it. If you crashed it, then don't even have issues. You've crashed it. That does not mean you will never buy another car.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. If you're married today, I am not here to speak, you know, evil and ill onto your marriage. It doesn't mean that you're permanently married. Okay? You're married for as long as you've chosen to be. If you choose out, nobody can force you to stay married to them. So in a two-person marriage, two people must decide. Yeah. And my husband says this all the time. I am in. You choose if you're in. Yeah. That's your choice.
No one
I
can
can't force you to make a decision to stay. If you choose to leave, I will not fight you to stay. And that woke me up to the reality that it's my personal choice. If I want to wear black shoes, I want to wear red shoes. So who's to say I would wear whatever I want. In the same way, marriage. Yes, there are values that you look at. We get our marriage partners sometimes early, sometimes you're still vulnerable or you're still in the clouds. And that is
naive. It's young and naive.
Everybody before marriage is naive.
Young
even if you got married.
Even if it's you don't know what you don't know until you're in it.
You can only know when you're in.
Okay, that is not true.
It's not a guarantee of age. It's not a guarantee of education.
I know.
As long as you're married to a human being, human beings are complex.
Yeah.
Human beings have personalities and moods and senses that they just can't navigate on their own all the time. Who's telling you you have a master's in that person? It's for you to decide.
Yeah.
So they're upset today. Why exactly are they upset? You can't constantly point the spotlight on yourself. That marriage is selfish already. Oh, my God, did I even do the dishes? And we're not here to even discuss marriage. But marriage is a personal choice. Once you've made the personal choice and you've decided to bring your wealth together, and you're here saying, I want to generate wealth for the children.
Yeah.
If your parents did not choose to stay married, would you have any wealth to acquire? Honestly, they would have split it at the divorce. And then you'd have gone with whichever parent. Then they give you whatever they want.
Give you,
But at the point that you're deciding to split it in the divorce, you've already shown your children, even you, I can split you in whatever situation. It's me versus you. But our parents stuck it through. Yes, it's a old age, they want to familiar or whatever we want to say. They helped us receive something holy with whatever purchase it has. You're helping your children receive it as well. You're passing it down. When you pass it down, you can choose to polish it. You can choose to, repaint it. You can choose to build something else next to it and continue passing it down.
Yeah.
It's a personal choice. Even setup of wealth and money, you choose to either hide it or pull it in together.
And there's consequences and benefits of both.
Yeah, of both.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that in trusts, there are people who come to the trust table fully trusting the person they're with. No. There are people who are like, okay, Kitoka, now can we discuss how to protect what I own?
I want actually. Nataka kukuona kando.
And that's perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
You're the person who understands who you're married to. You're the one who's wearing the shoes. You're painting.
Oh, yeah.
So you know whether your children will gain or they'll lose. You you understand the complexity of your marriage. So it's neither right or wrong for you to set up a marriage trust and then you set up your own individual's trust. It's not wrong. Nobody said it's wrong. You simply have to showcase, this is the purpose for this marriage trust. I have my own. It will stream down to the very same people. But I wish not.
So you can do, I love that. So you can do the marriage trust. And thank you, because you've actually given us a practical solution to this, because sometimes I feel like issues to do with like trust and working together are so dependent on many, many other aspects that are so unique to each couple. But like, I love the solution that you've given us. It's that if there's still things you want to keep and not reveal, you want to probably do a marriage trust, if that is even an option. Or if not, you could also do like your own private trust.
Even if it's just for inheriting from your parents. If you don't want to mix it, his inheritance. Or you can simply put yours in a private trust, his in a private trust, you do your own combined family trust, and they all stream down.
And they all stream down to your children. I feel like that would be really dope for like blended families. Like a man who has 2 wives, 3 wives, whatever. Oh, I really love it. Guys, this has been very, very impactful. Winnie, thank you. These people almost killed me. Like, they were like, bring Winnie back. She doesn't know what Winnie aongea.
Oh my goodness.
So I really hope that you guys have learned something. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome. Thank
I genuinely feel like you're such a wealth of wisdom. Like, every time I hear you speak, I'm like, you know, the way you hear like your very older, wise sister.
Yes.
Not like older in terms of
I'm still a light of you.
Wisdom. You don't want to. But like the wisdom you ooze and just your perspective on life is really, really admirable.
Thank you.
I keep telling you, like, honestly, you just inspire me, like from marriage, motherhood, everything. It's really good to have you, and thank you so much. And guys, I'm not even going to add or remove anything. I really hope that you guys have learned something on how to navigate estate planning and also succession planning. You know, the legal aspect of it at least. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave Winnie's contact. We'll decide whether we'll leave either a link to your IG or even your email on how you can reach her in case you would like any assistance on any of the matters that were covered in today's episode, as long as it is within her scope to do so. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you on the next episode of Finance Friday.